Welcome to episode 6 of the podcast, The Tech Launch, discussing the AI skills gap. What prompt engineering will look like in 2027.
Cheers to that.
Yeah, cheers. It's been a long day, so go ahead and pull up a stool, get comfortable, and let's dive into this.
Definitely. I think we all need a drink for this one.
Exactly. So tonight's deep dive takes this massive stack of raw job market data, tech predictions, workforce reports, and we are just distilling all of it down for you over drinks.
Making sense of the chaos.
Right. Because here's the crazy paradox we're looking at. We are constantly being told that, prompt engineering is the hottest, highest paying job of the future.
Oh, the hype is everywhere.
It's everywhere. We keep hearing that anyone who can basically talk to an AI is going to write their own ticket in this modern economy.
Yeah.
But sitting right alongside that massive hype, there is this profound global skills crisis that's looming over us. I mean, we are staring down a projected deficit of up to 49 million skilled tech workers by 2027.
It's a staggering contradiction, honestly.
49 million. So we need to figure out how we can simultaneously have, the most powerful technological tools in human history and an absolute drought of people who actually know how to use them.
Yeah, and my baseline for tonight is to really help connect the dots between these hyper-specialized AI roles, the ones that grab all the glossy headlines, and the macro workforce trends that are, frankly, quietly reshaping the global economy.
Which is what we really care about, right?
Exactly. We need to look past the buzzwords. We aren't just going to look at what is happening on the surface, but the underlying mechanisms of why it matters to your specific career path.
Because it really does matter.
It does, because the gap between the technology we're building and the people capable of actually operating it, well, it's widening every single day.
So to understand where all of this is going, I think we first have to, cut through that absolute mountain of hype and look at what a quote-unquote prompt engineer actually is today.
Right, because the perception is pretty skewed.
It's wildly skewed. I think a lot of people picture someone just sitting at a laptop, typing a clever little sentence into a chat box and getting paid mid-six figures just for, having a good vocabulary.
It's a really expensive typist.
Yeah, exactly. But when I was looking through that labor market data you brought in tonight, the reality was just wildly different.
Completely different. If you look at this recent analysis of over 20,000 tech job postings across the industry.
20,000?
20,000 postings, yeah. The number of dedicated, standalone prompt engineer roles is remarkably low.
Like how low?
Out of those 20,000 postings, only 72 were specifically for a prompt engineer.
72?
Yeah, that is less than 0.5% of the market.
Wow.
So right off the bat, we can see it's a highly rare emerging hybrid role. It's not this standard fixture that every single company is actually hiring for.
Well, that immediately punctures the balloon right there.
Yeah.
But, when you actually look at those 72 roles, the skill profile they are asking for is fascinating.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't look like a traditional tech resume at all.
Not at all. If we break down the specific skill requirements in those listings, 22.8% of the focus is rooted in AI and machine learning.
Okay, that makes sense.
But crucially, employers aren't asking for general machine learning knowledge.
Right.
They aren't asking you to build a neural network from scratch. They want deep, specific knowledge of large language models.
So, knowing how the engine works, not necessarily how to build the car.
Basically. You need to understand the mechanism of a context window, how tokenization actually works and how the model retrieves data. And then another 18.7% of the job focus is purely on agile and testing methodologies.
Okay, wait. Testing methodologies. I mean, I think of testing when I think of software bugs, not text prompts. What are they actually testing?
Well, they are systemically testing the parameters of the AI. So, for example, adjusting something called the temperature setting.
Temperature, like hot or cold.
Yeah, sort of. If you set a model's temperature to 0, the AI is completely literal and highly predictable.
Okay.
It gives you the exact same dry answer every single time. But if you set it to 1, it becomes highly creative.
Oh, I see.
But it's also much more prone to hallucinations and just making things up. So a prompt engineer is constantly A/B testing those parameters, trying to find the exact mathematical balance between creativity and accuracy for a specific business task.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because on one hand, they need this deep systemic testing knowledge, But on the other hand, the data shows a massive emphasis placed on soft skills.
Huge emphasis.
Yeah, like nearly 22% of the required skills are just communication.
Right.
And about 16% is creative problem solving. Meanwhile, traditional cloud infrastructure skills, which, let's be honest, are the absolute bread and butter of almost every other modern tech job.
Oh, yeah. Usually essential.
Right. But those sit at just 4.9% here.
Well, that's because these engineers aren't building the back-end pipes and servers. They are operating at the absolute edge of the user experience. It's right at the collision point between human intent and machine capability.
I look at this profile, and I kind of think of a prompt engineer as essentially a bilingual diplomat.
A diplomat, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be someone who speaks the fluid, nuanced language of human creativity, but also the rigid statistical logic of a machine. You are basically brokering a peace treaty between what the marketing department wants and what the neural network can actually output.
I'd actually push back on that analogy slightly.
Oh, why is that?
Well, a diplomat negotiates with another human who shares a fundamental baseline of reality, right?
Fair.
In this job, you're actually more like an alien linguist or, a dog whisperer.
A dog whisperer for AI. I love that.
Exactly. Because you're dealing with an entity that has immense power, but processes logic in an entirely alien way. It doesn't actually think about the words you type. It predicts statistical vectors.
Right, it's just math.
It is. You are trying to extract human logic from a system that doesn't natively possess it.
That is a terrifying, but honestly incredibly accurate way to put it. But let me challenge you on a bizarre detail in this data.
Go for it.
In all these job postings, time and project management skills are only mentioned 1.9% of the time.
Yeah, 1.9.
Less than 2%. Are employers just looking for mad scientists who lock themselves in a dark room and iterate endlessly without a schedule? I mean, how does anything get done?
What's fascinating here is that the low emphasis on time management actually perfectly describes the mechanism of the work right now.
Really?
Yeah. This job is not about executing a predictable linear project plan. You aren't building a traditional website where you know exactly how long coding the login page will take.
Right, it's not predictable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is an entirely different life cycle. It requires an incredibly high degree of autonomy because you are running hundreds of micro experiments a day.
Just constant tweaking.
Constantly. You tweak a single adjective in a prompt, you run the output, you log the variance, you adjust the temperature setting by a fraction, you test again. Heavy collaboration is required to understand the business goal, sure, but the actual day-to-day execution is pure, chaotic, rapid iteration.
Wow.
And a traditional project management framework with rigid milestones. It just paralyzes that specific process.
So if a prompt engineer's entire day is just rapid-fire, repetitive micro-experiments,
Yeah.
well, that sounds exactly like the kind of optimization loop an AI is actually built to do itself.
You're jumping ahead, but yes.
Which leads us perfectly to 2027. Because if the job right now is hyper-specialized testing, what happens when the AI gets smart enough to automate its own testing? I mean, the future trends data shows we are already moving toward automated prompt engineering.
Exactly. The human bottleneck is basically being removed. We are already seeing tools that analyze a user's vague task requirement and then use a secondary AI to generate the optimal, technically perfect prompt on your behalf.
That is wild.
It analyzes the semantic gap between what you asked for and what the model actually needs, and it injects hidden constraints you didn't even think of. The data shows this automated mechanism is reducing the time a human spends on prompt creation by up to 60%.
60%. And it goes far beyond just text boxes, too. The data says we are shifting rapidly into multimodal AI.
Right, the multimodal shift.
Yeah, prompts are integrating images, video, and sound all at once. And the research highlights something wild. When you use multimodal prompting, it actually outperforms traditional text-only models by 25% in complex cross-domain tasks.
It really does.
But wait, explain this to me. Why does adding a picture make the text output of an AI objectively better? That feels counterintuitive.
It comes down to context and spatial reasoning. When an AI only has text, it operates in this vacuum of language. It only knows what words usually sit next to other words.
Like, it's just guessing the next word.
Exactly. But when you force a model to process visual data alongside text, say, analyzing a photograph of a broken engine while also reading the repair manual, It maps the text vectors to physical spatial reality.
Oh, I see.
It anchors the language. That cross-referencing mechanism drastically reduces hallucinations and improves problem-solving performance.
That makes total sense. And at the same time, all this complex technology is being democratized. Like, the predictions say that by 2025, 70% of new AI applications are going to be built on no-code platforms.
Yeah, zero coding required.
Literally just dragging and dropping modules without knowing a single line of code. Plus, we have the emergence of what they call continuous prompt learning. The AI is basically acting like a hidden editor. It literally refines its own prompts based on past interactions, constantly adjusting its own bumper lanes, which is reducing error rates by 40%.
It's a complete paradigm shift, honestly. The machine is learning to talk to the machine.
But this leads to my main question for you.
Okay.
If the AI is writing its own prompts, and if it's continuously learning and correcting its own errors, and no-code tools let anyone build an app, doesn't the prompt engineer job title effectively kill itself by 2027? I mean, are we looking at a dead-end career that's just going to be automated out of existence?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the role isn't dying, but the typist aspect of it definitely is. It is evolving from prompt engineering into what the industry is actually starting to call prompt architecture or agentic orchestration.
Agentic orchestration. Okay, it sounds incredibly impressive, but what does that actually look like on a Tuesday morning in the office?
Think of an agentic orchestrator like a general contractor building a house.
Right.
The contractor doesn't pour the concrete or install the drywall themselves. They coordinate specialized teams. So in 2027, you won't be writing individual sentences to coax an answer out of a single AI. You will be designing complex workflows where multiple specialized AI agents talk to each other.
Oh, wow. So they work together.
Exactly. For example, you design a system where a visual AI monitors your warehouse inventory. When it spots a shortage, it automatically triggers a text AI to draft an email to the supplier, which then triggers a coding AI to update the company's secure database.
That is incredible.
You are designing the architecture of how these agents interact. And standardizing these frameworks across an enterprise reduces implementation costs by 30%.
Sure.
Companies don't want a lone genius writing bespoke prompts in a vacuum anymore. They want an architect who can embed highly efficient AI interactions into everyday business workflows.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. We've painted this beautiful, futuristic picture of 2027.
It sounds great on paper.
It does. We have self-correcting multimodal AI and brilliant agentic orchestrators directing the flow of entire companies.
Yeah.
But we have a massive, crushing problem getting from here to there, and that is the skills gap.
The elephant in the room.
Exactly. If we desperately need these highly communicative, adaptable, AI-fluent architects, why can't employers find them?
Because the global systems we rely on to produce skilled workers were built for a totally different century.
Yeah.
And the macro data illustrates this perfectly.
Right.
Look at the Indian workforce, for example, which is a prime microcosm for this global crisis because it has traditionally been the IT engine of the world.
Absolutely.
Right now, a staggering 82% of employers in India report that they are struggling to find the right talent.
82%. And it's definitely not for a lack of sheer volume of people.
Not at all.
I mean, India produces over 1.5 million engineering graduates every single year. Yet, according to the data, only 42.6% of those graduates are considered actually employable by current industry standards.
It's a huge disconnect.
Over half of them are walking out of 4-year degree programs, fundamentally unequipped to do the jobs they supposedly just trained for.
The root causes are deeply systemic. We are looking at education systems worldwide that are incredibly theory-heavy. They emphasize rote memorization and are lagging, frankly, 5 to 10 years behind current industry needs.
You know, to put that in perspective, I look at the current higher education system like a massive, perfectly optimized factory.
Okay, I like this.
Yeah, the machinery is humming, the conveyor belts are moving flawlessly, and every year it churns out 1 million perfectly constructed cassette players.
Cassette players.
Yes. But we are living in the age of Spotify. The factory is doing exactly what it was designed to do, but the output is entirely obsolete the moment it leaves the floor.
Yes, and to build on your analogy, instead of fundamentally retooling the factory to stream music, the universities are just slapping a Bluetooth sticker on the side of the cassette player and calling it a modern degree. This raises an important question about technological velocity. Tech cycles are simply too fast now for traditional academia to keep up.
Right. The curriculum just can't move that fast.
It can't. By the time a university identifies a new AI framework, develops a curriculum around it, gets that curriculum accredited, and actually teaches it over a 4-year program, well, that technology has evolved 3 times. You cannot memorize the syntax of an AI because the AI changes its behavior every week.
And it goes beyond just the universities, right? The data highlights a severe lack of vocational training early on.
Yes, way too early.
Nearly 92% of adolescents globally have zero formal skill training. And because of this broken pipeline, we're seeing immediate critical talent shortages of 25 to 50%, specifically in fields like AI, cloud computing, and cybersecurity.
And the gap isn't just about missing the latest coding language either.
What do you mean?
Well, it's a massive deficit in the exact soft skills we just established that orchestrators desperately need. Universities heavily index on memorization to pass standardized tests. But as we discussed earlier, the AI jobs of the future require critical thinking, adaptability, complex problem solving, and cross-disciplinary creativity. The education system is basically failing to produce the human-centric skills that the machines cannot replicate.
So what does this all mean? Like, if you are listening to this, sitting at the bar with us right now, and you want to future-proof your career by 2027, where do you actually spend your time?
That is the million-dollar question.
Do you go home tonight and sign up for a coding boot camp to learn Python? Or do you sign up for a psychology class? How do you actually bridge this gap?
You have to build a fundamentally hybrid profile. You cannot just be one thing anymore. But practically speaking, you need to recognize that companies already know the traditional university system is broken.
They see the cassette players.
They absolutely see them. And because of that, we are seeing a massive corporate pivot towards skills-based hiring. Major employers are completely dropping 4-year degree requirements for these roles.
Wow. So they really don't care where you learned it, as long as you can prove you actually know how to do it.
Precisely. Major corporations are bypassing academia entirely by building their own internal training academies and investing heavily in upskilling programs. They view the skills gap as an internal onboarding challenge now.
Okay, but what about the individual?
For you, the individual, this means lifelong learning is an absolute survival requirement. You need to focus on micro-credentials. Yes, you should absolutely learn the specific tools of the trade right now. Get familiar with frameworks like LangChain, which is essentially the technical glue that lets your AI talk to outside databases.
Right.
Understand how to pull models from Hugging Face, which is basically the public library for open source AI. Learn enough Python to script an API call so you can connect different agents, but do not make technical syntax your entire identity.
Because the tool you master today will just be automated by next year.
Exactly. You must index heavily on your human-centric skills. Because the new frontier of this field isn't just getting the AI to output code, it's the ethics and safety of the future. Mitigating bias is rapidly becoming a highly sought-after, quantifiable hard skill.
Okay, wait, how does that actually work in practice? How is ethics a hard skill?
It involves deeply understanding societal nuance and proactively designing constraints. For instance, researchers have found that by implementing deliberate bias mitigation strategies, like automatically injecting counterfactual edge cases and diverse demographic contexts into the background of a system prompt, they achieve a 20% reduction in biased AI outputs in corporate environments. That isn't just philosophy, that is complex architectural design. Empathy, ethical reasoning, and the ability to communicate cultural nuances. These are the true bottlenecks in AI right now.
So we are going to see entirely new human-centric career paths emerge from this. Not just engineers, but roles like a, prompt safety analyst or a prompt compliance officer, whose entire job is to audit these autonomous agent workflows.
To ensure they align with human values.
Exactly. To ensure they align with human values and legal standards before they ever interact with customers.
Absolutely. The professionals who will truly thrive in 2027 are the ones who understand the technical mechanism of the AI under the hood, but also deeply understand the psychology, the ethics, and the unpredictable needs of the humans actually using it.
I love that. So let's wrap this up and put a bow on it. What we've discovered tonight is that prompt engineering is rapidly transitioning.
Very rapidly.
It's moving far away from being this niche technical hack where you trick a chatbot into giving you a funny answer. It is maturing into agentic orchestration, a vital multimodal communication layer that will sit between human intent and machine execution across every major industry.
Right.
But the harsh reality is that the global workforce, paralyzed by outdated, theory-heavy educational models, is struggling immensely to adapt to it. If you want to step into that global talent void, you need less focus on rote memorization and far more focus on critical thinking, ethical design, and extreme adaptability.
It is arguably the most critical transition period for the global economy in our lifetime.
It really is. And, it leaves me with one final thing to chew on.
Well.
Yeah. We've talked all night about how the future of prompt engineering is ultimately about perfectly translating human intent into machine action. We have to understand our own goals deeply to tell the machine what we want.
Naturally.
But as these models become continuously learning, hyper-empathetic, multimodal systems that map our psychology, what happens when the AI understands us better than we understand ourselves? Will the future of coding just look exactly like a therapy session?
Oh, wow. Now that is a mechanism I hadn't considered. That thought will definitely keep me up tonight.
Something to mull over on your way home, right? Well, thanks for pulling up a stool and joining us for this deep dive. Finish your drinks, have a great night, and we will see you next week right here in the lounge.